Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And shalom to you sincere, hopeful, elect brothers and sisters listening and learning, and to you brothers preaching and teaching this truth through the four corners of the earth. That's the brother Nathan, come out of the GMS Indianapolis camp. All right, coming back with a quick one through the spirit. And I'm just going to get right into it. Just talking about, not being, around these people of the world, rather it be your so-called friends you grew up with, your family members, your people you work with, right? How, we got to find ourselves to really separate ourselves from them, especially in these times, as we're entering into Jacob's trouble, as we're seeing the end being manifest before us, as we've seen the prophecies popping off the page like popcorn, right? All right, because these people are enemies of the Lord, man. All right, from your grandparents all the way down to your cousins, man. They're not with you. How about Shemel Shai? All right, your cool, your quote unquote cool co-workers, your quote unquote cool friends from the world, Nah, they're enemies of the Lord at the end of the day. And they'll turn your ass in, right? For the right price. Because they're going to do it. They're going to put some ransoms out. All right? And what you'll find yourself is that, you spend too much time with them, right? Then if you're in the right spirit, you're going to get vexed. Because they're going to vex your spirit because they're going to talk about some worldly shit that that ain't going to happen. You listen to a motherfucker's 5 to 10 year plan, what they plan to do this, they plan to do that. But here it is in the back of your mind, you already know what's about to happen. You're like, nah, man, shit, you ain't, So you get annoyed at hearing that type of shit. You're like, man, aren't you fucking paying attention? This shit is over, right? Or they talk about some stuff that's against the scriptures. They're talking about how I fried up this pork bacon and fried bologna and did all this. And you gotta listen to that madness, man. All right. So the key is to what? To not be around these people more than you need to be. All right. Even your grandparents or your parents, right? It's the same with them too. You might have, you might go help them and, take care of them, look out for them, right? But you keep it very minimal. You don't spend every single waking day with them, unless you live with them, if that's what it is. But you try to stay busy doing other stuff, right? All right, so let's get it. This is 2 Corinthians 6:14. It says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers." See? Unequally yoked, meaning what? Spending too much time with unbelievers, man. Because remember, we're supposed to be separate, holy. All right? Because you find yourself, if you're going out, hanging out with your co-workers or friends from the world, or your family with the world all the time, guess what, man? You especially if you're in the camp, you ought to have that mindset like, damn, instead of spending time with them, I could have kicked it with one of the brothers, man. Because we need to be around the brothers and talking to our brothers on the phone, as much as possible to keep you in good spirits. Because the conversation we're gonna be having, brothers is gonna keep it spiritual. Even in our folly, the scriptures always come out, right? Rather we could be talking about sports and everything. It's always gonna come out. Something's gonna be spiritual, nourishing the spirit versus just straight flesh. All right, because this world is what the scriptures say. What folly is set in great dignity, right? So you can be talking to your siblings that's not in the truth, your parents, your grandparents, and like I said, co-workers, whatever you talk to, you already know the conversation is gonna get vexing. All right, it ain't gonna last for too long. So what do? You gotta avoid them. Hey, Amos 3:3 says what? Can two walk together unless he be agreed? Hell no. If I'm going right and the other person's going left, how in the hell are we going to be on the right path together? It just ain't going to happen. All right, so just like these people, man. Hey, we use the world and not abuse it, right? So you might have a job to where you know, especially if you're in a supervisor or manager style position, you know, you're gonna have to deal with the people. You know, you might not have a job where it's just you in the corner, you know, working on something or blah blah blah, and you can avoid people. You ain't got to deal with them like that. You know, if you do, great, and if not, hey, you manage it. All right, you don't get too close. You know, you keep enough to put on that Clark Kent, right? You know, we'll be Superman at camp, but we'll be Clark Kent at the job, on the job, right? You know. It says, "For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Hamashiach, or the anointed, with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of Yahweh Bashim Shai with idols?" Right? So why should we stay separate? It says, "For ye are the temple of the living power. As Yahweh Bashim Shai have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people." Right. Only if you what? You separate yourself from this world. All right. But if you're moving and grooving in this world 24/7, and you know you're minding the things after the flesh versus the spirit, guess what's gonna happen? Yahweh Bashim Shai, one, he ain't gonna deal with you. Then ultimately, what? You're gonna get your ass destroyed. All right, because here it is. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai has given us what we need to move and groove through this earth. So if you go outside of that and get jacked up, well, it's your own damn fault. You know? Hey, he that sinneth against Yahweh Shema Shai wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. Proverbs 8:36. So if you go against Yahweh Shema Shai, you love death, because remember, Romans 6:23 says what? The wages of sin is death. So that's the payment for you sinning, for you going off. And what's sin? 1 John 3:4, the transgression of the law, for sin is the transgression of the law, right? All right, so yeah, the law is still intact. Yeah, we're not going to be justified in salvation by it, but we're going to be justified by what? Rehearsing the righteous acts, giving forth that effort. All right, that the rest of the world isn't giving, especially to you Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans, those of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, the chosen people. But that's why it's about the elect of those chosen people. All right, because the elect, they're going to do things right to the best of their ability. All right, they're not going to get weak. You know, and if they do fall down a little bit, guess what? Instead a righteous man falleth 7 times and get back up. Right, or a just man, you know, same thing. Okay, and that's part of the walk. But see, the Lord will dwell with you and lead your way. Because remember, Proverbs 3:6 talks about acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he shall direct thy steps. So we acknowledge, and then you go up a verse, Proverbs 3:5. This is what? Lean not unto thy own understanding. Right? So you follow the ways of Yahweh Bashim Shai to the best of your ability, you can't go wrong. You're gonna be in a good case. And it says, verse 17, "Wherefore come out from among them, see, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." See? He'll receive you. He'll sup with you. All right? He'll change your life for the better. Yeah, it's going to be a bumpy road, but, you know, that's why it says Matthew 7:13, "Well, enter ye in at the straight gate." And the word straight is what? A position of difficulty, STRAIT. But it's going to be the right path, even though it's bumpy and it's uncomfortable at times. But you know that at the end of that path of the Lord is the victory. It's the salvation. It's the protection along the way. Even though it's bumpy, but the Lord got you at the end of the day. So you can't lose focus on that. Verse 18. And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. See? That's a good deal right there. Hey, Yahweh Shai, he set the tone. He carved the path for us to follow, right? Just like any path, like you go to it, let's say you go hiking in the woods or whatever, and it's got the trails already made, right? Now, how difficult it is to go and just start carving your own damn trail. Your trees all in the way, you got this and that. It's way easier to follow a path that's already been set up by people, right? Well, just like Yahweh Shai, it's already been set up. So we just got to follow his way, right? Matter of fact, let's get it's Matthew chapter 12. Let's get to let's see what Yahweh Shai handled his family. This is Matthew 12 and 46. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother, and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. See? That low-key got Yahweh Shai hot right there, man. Because here he is doing the will of the Father, and here he's getting bothered, And we've had those type of instances too, like, trying to do a lesson and then, you got somebody from the world gonna call you, you're like, damn, rather it be a woman, and if you got older children, or you got if you got some little ones, and all of a sudden they bust in the door or something like that while you're doing the lesson, that shit gets you hot, Somebody or somebody call you during the lesson, you be like, man, because you're in the spirit. You don't, and you want to stay locked in, so, it kind of, it upsets you. And that's the same, like, this type of scenario, man. Hell, even when we're on the highways and byways, here it is, y'all pushing through the spirit, and some jackass comes up, either asking some dumbass questions or just to mock or scoff. We ain't got time for that. That's why we sending you straight up the fucking street, man. They're playing on games with you. So that's why we don't deal with these people in the world like that, man. Not more than we have to. And so that's the way to push, man. Follow our examples. That's why Yahweh Shai gave us our apostles and our elders. All right. That's why he gave us the truth, man. That's why he gave us Yahweh Shai. That's why it says also in our forefathers. See, this is Romans 15 and 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. See? All these things that we read about in the scriptures, this ain't just a good story. This ain't make-believe. These are real accounts. And we apply them to our life. And you see how, like, wow, we've gone through some of the same things, as our forefathers, as the men before us. These scriptures are full of what? Lamentations, mournings, and woe. I believe that's Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. I could be mistaken. But it ain't about a whole lot of victory, man. Our forefathers went through hell, man. Yahweh Shai went through hell, man, to get to salvation. That's why I said through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven, man. So we're going to go through all kinds of things. And so don't further the affliction by by getting yourself caught up with these motherfuckers in the world, man. Excuse my language. But these people ain't worth it, man. From your so-called friends, your so-called family, these co-workers, man, nah, they ain't worth hanging around like that, man. You know? And they may not be even completely demons, but guess what? They still they're not in this truth, man. So you can't trust them all the way. You can't trust them like that. Okay? Like I said, I'm gonna quote it again. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they be agreed? No. All right, I can't go right and you want to go left. We ain't gonna be able on the same path. It ain't gonna work. Let's take it. Cause why? This is James 4:4. Ye adulteresses and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Right, that's including these people. Because see, they're of the world. They're friends of the world. All right? And we're not of the world. Right? We're like aliens. Right? Which, we're from another planet compared to these people, man. You know? And that's how it should be. We should be a mystery to these people. These people of the world shouldn't know too much about us, man. Now, you got longtime friends and family. Of course, they're gonna know quite a bit of things about you. But other than that, man, the rest of these people, no, we do a whole lot of listening, and before we tell people anything about us. That's for damn sure. Cause you gotta think about it. There's agents. There's people that could be set up at your job just to keep an eye on you, man. It's that serious. All right. So you don't say too much, man. It's a high and by situations. That don't mean you gotta be at the job just cussing people out and mugging everybody, and somebody talking to you just turn around, walk away. I mean, you gotta use wisdom now. The scripture say, be harmless as a serpent. Be wise as a serpent, but what? Harmless as a dove. All right? So use the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord gave us. You utilize the experiences that our apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down have shared with us, apply those things, because they've been through the ringer. They've been at jobs, all right? They've done this and done that, right? So there's a reason why they went through that, so they could tell us, all right? Us younger brothers in the faith that are trying and striving for the truth unto death, man. We'll get one more. Let's get wrong book. This is 1 John 2:15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua abideth forever. See? All right, so you can't love this world. All right, you should despise this place. All right, you should hate waking up every day, man. The most exciting things that we have in this truth is literally going out and teaching the truth, being with our brethren that are like-minded, all right? That's why the scriptures say that we all should speak the same thing, all right? So we shouldn't be all at camp. I'm saying one thing that means a breakdown, another brother saying this, that's confusion, man, all right? But yeah, we can't love this world, man. We want to love the world to come. We're looking for a earth that's ran by righteousness, man, not wickedness. You know, like I say, you find, like, especially, you're in a camp with brothers, man, and there's a lot of weak ass podcast niggas and comment board warriors, man, keyboard warriors, right? That want to talk about the camps. See, that's them camps. Them camps. Shut the fuck up, man. All these mouths are gonna be stopped, man. All those people are of the world, man. That's because they truly don't. It's not the camps. It's just like y'all truly don't want the things that we're saying, which Yahweh Shem Yahushua is saying it. We're just reiterating what's already been said. All right, that this place is over. Because y'all want this place to continue. All right? So that's why, man, we avoid these people of the world, man. You know, they're nothing but distractions anyways. All right, so the less you deal with worldly people, the better. Trust me. You know, protect your spirit. All right, because these people will drain you, man. And then like I like to say this too, yes, we have the light. We're the light of the world because we have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's the light. So people are drawn to us because we walk different, we talk different, we eat different. So we're a spectacle too, you know. People, like, they want to know about us. They draw to us just like gnats in the light bulb, man. You know. And like I said, you got some cool jakes in the world, you know, that are cool, that, you know, but being cool don't be enough. You know, they gotta be in this fold. And the Lord may have them coming in. The Lord may have mercy on them. You know, if they do you right at the job, they're looking out for you. They do this, they do that. Hey, Yahweh Shem Shai may have mercy upon them. All right. But I know this though. I wouldn't want to straddle that fence. I want to, we're blessed to have this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. All right, to be able to call upon Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. Not to be sitting here calling on false gods like Jesus Christo, Jesus Christ, saying Yeshua, shit like that. When the real name is out there, Yahweh Shem Shai. Right? So I didn't want to keep rambling. So, hey, once again, hey, don't be unequally yoked with these non-believers, man. It's gonna be it'll be healthy for your life, and you'll find yourself becoming less vexed. Now we vexed in this place. Don't get it twisted now. This place is trash and it's full of Satan. Inside joke right there. For the brothers know what I'm talking about. But this place is trash for sure. All right, so with that, I pray this is edifying to the elect. I like to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash, that belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Kwam Yasha.